What made you sit down and write that very first letter to Erik?
I watched the first trial on Court TV, and I saw the pain that he was going through. I could sense a pain. It was after I saw him on the stand, and I saw the pain, and I wanted to write one letter and tell him that I supported him. And I didn't expect him to write back. If he did, that's fine. If he didn't, that's fine too. I was going to write one letter and that was it. And he wrote back about a month later, and a short letter, because he was getting a lot of mail at that time.
Right. He was pretty infamous.
Yes, he was. And you know, he wrote back a month later, and then gradually we started corresponding. And my husband knew that we were corresponding. And
yeah, because a lot of people are like, no, okay, when Tammi wrote to Erik, was she married? Right. And you were happily married.
Happily married, and he knew. He read the letters, and you know, everything was fine. He didn't mind. He thought it was kind of cool. He watched the trial with me, so you know, that was fine. But it was the compassion, I guess, that went out to him to write the first letter.
What did you think the first time you finally met face to face?
Erik was full of energy and very bubbly, and I'm thinking to myself, how can he be so upbeat and still live in this place? It was the first time I'd ever been in a maximum security prison, and I was scared. You know, I was really scared to be there. But when he walked in, he's just so happy and bubbly, and I think he was happy that I was there, but you know, still.
That you hadn't turned around and gone the other way?
Left, right.
Halfway through the process?
Right, yeah. So
it's not easy getting in.
It's not easy. You have to go through a lot of checkpoints, and you know, that's really, really difficult sometimes. Every single day that I drive to the prison, I don't know for sure if I'm going to get in, the dress code or something. So yeah, it's very difficult. But yeah, the first time I met him, he just was so full of life, you know.
Did you feel anything that first meeting?
I thought that I could sense that I was attracted to him, but we had been writing for so long that we were, you know, like best friends, even though we talked on the phone a lot and written letters for a long time and years. And so when I first met him, I felt like I knew him. But it was reality, you know, when he walked in. It was like, there he is, this is real, you know, so.
When did you first think, I'm falling in love with Erik Menendez?
Well, you know, I denied it for a long time, and I probably had been visiting him for 6 months, and I kept finding myself wanting to go back. Every single time I would leave, I would want to go back, and I would think, you know, this can't be good, but my heart just kept bringing me there, and it was after several visits that, you know, I felt I was falling, and there was no way back. You know, there was no way back.
Are you glad you fell in love with him, or do you wish maybe you'd never met?
No, I'm glad that I've married him and fell in love with him. It has given me a lot of life lessons, and the path that I'm on is a very spiritual, good path, and Erik has really helped me on the path and brought me there. And I couldn't have did it without him. He healed me in so many ways, and I don't think I'd be the person I am today without him in my life.
How many people say, Tammi, you're crazy. You're married to Erik Menendez.
Well, it takes a turn as soon as people find out, and you know, I still have to tell people on a, you know, daily basis, you know, wherever I'm at, if I'm in a certain situation where I have to tell people, and it's not, they take a step back. They don't take a step forward. It's back, and you know, I have to deal with that, but I'm willing to deal with that now. Before I wasn't.
Did you think Erik was going to ask you to marry him?
In the back of my mind, I always wondered if he would, and I thought that maybe at a different time, when he did it that day, I was very surprised, that he'd asked.
Were you hoping he would, or were you hoping he wouldn't?
I was hoping someday he would. I think it was a little soon, So yes, I was hoping that he would eventually. So.
And what did you say to yourself? What kind of conversation did you have with yourself? Like, I want this man to propose to me, but this is going to be a really tough road.
Well, I just can't see myself without him, and so you know, the marriage was something that was good. Within the prison system, you really have to be a wife to get any information and to take care of anything that happens with Erik. You know, and at that, it's a feat, even though you're married to him. You know, so that was part of the reason. Another part is that, you know, like I said, I can't see myself without him.
What would be the first thing you'd do if you and Erik could actually be alone?
Well, the restraints on the physical contact is very, very difficult at times. And
Yeah, what is allowed and what isn't allowed?
Well, this prison, the Folsom prison where he was at before was a lot stricter. You could only hold hands, and you can kiss when you go in and you can kiss when you leave. But other than that, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
No conjugal visits.
Nothing, no. And now this prison, the visiting room is more relaxed, which is good for people that are visiting because it helps bond families. And you got to remember that Erik, Monday through Friday, he doesn't have any hugs, or so human touch is something that's important to him. And growing up in the household with his parents and everything, he was restricted from hugging and a lot of stuff. So now he's living that too. So he, you know, it's really good for him to be able to sit close and be next to him.
Being with him makes all the loneliness worth it.
The loneliness can wrap you up and swallow you whole a lot of times because he does go on lockdown. And
Right.
the lockdowns and dealing with everything that he deals with inside the prison is very difficult. That is extremely painful at times. So, but then you have the highs and lows, and the highs are better than the lows.
What's the biggest misconception about your husband?
That he's a cold-blooded murderer. You know, a lot of people, that's what's portrayed that he is, and he's not. If you could spend 5 minutes with him, he's the most caring, kind, compassionate person anybody, you know, you'd ever meet. And you know, it's the people that haven't met him that speculate. Once they meet him, you know, that's drowned out by the type of person that he is. And he's just, you know, a wonderful human being that really, you know, made a mistake in his life, a big mistake in his life, and now is paying the consequences. I've met his family members, and I can understand what drove him to do what he did. And he pays for it daily. There's not a day that goes by that he doesn't think about, you know, what he's done. He's very sorry for what he's done, and he lives with the grief. He endures the grief every day with the reality of what he did. And, you know, I'm very forgiving, I guess, and I understand, you know, what happened in the household that you know, led up to what happened.
Do you think Erik will ever forgive himself?
No.
No.
He will never. No. I know, I see his pain when he talks about it. He's in a lot of pain, you know, and knowing what he did. Erik Menendez he was born innocent and grown up in a home that had very detrimental ramifications. He was only 18 when the murders happened, and he is somebody now that's living in prison, and you know, the abuse continues in the prison, and it's just another extension of what he went through, you know, growing up in that household.
What kinds of things do you hear about Erik that drive you crazy?
Well, I used to watch the media shows on him because they keep running them, and now I don't anymore because it's all speculation, and there's not too many truths about Erik, so I get really upset at the things that people say when they've never met him because it's all speculation. So it's just over the years, everything that's been on has you know, taken a toll on Erik too. You know, he's not the type of person that people think he is.
You seem like such a calm person, and yet you have chosen a life where there is no predictability and nothing but obstacles every day. How are you doing it?
It's very difficult. With Erik and the difficulties comes the passion to change things, and with adversity comes knowledge and spiritual lessons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, but you're human too.
Yeah, and it is really difficult. But Erik gets me through a lot of my emotional upsets during the week. Just a phone call from him, if I'm having a bad day, it enlightens me and makes me feel, 100% better.
Mm-hmm.
So with all the downfalls comes the really good part of being with him.